The dinner tray almost slipped from her hands. For one long second, she forgot how to breathe. The expensive Italian restaurant suddenly felt completely silent, even though dozens of wealthy guests were laughing around her, because the man who had just walked through the front door was supposed to be dead. 5 years earlier, Ethan Romano had disappeared after a violent gang war that shocked the entire city. Newspapers reported that his car had exploded near the harbor. No body was ever found, but everyone believed he was gone. Everyone except one woman, Emma Carter. She had spent 5 years wondering if he was still alive, 5 years crying alone, 5 years trying to forget the boy who had promised to return. Now he stood only 20 feet away, dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit, surrounded by armed bodyguards, walking with the confidence of a man everyone feared. He wasn't the poor mechanic she once loved. He was now the most powerful mafia boss in Chicago. Emma's hands began shaking. The glass of wine on her tray trembled. She whispered only one word, Ethan. At that exact moment, the mafia boss slowly turned his head. Their eyes met across the crowded restaurant. Time stopped. He recognized her instantly, but instead of smiling, his face became completely unreadable. Then he quietly looked away. As if they had never met. Emma felt her heart break all over again. She had imagined this reunion 1,000 times. None of those dreams ended like this. What she didn't know was that Ethan had ignored her for only one reason. Because every enemy in that restaurant had just realized the mafia boss knew the waitress, and that made her the most dangerous target in the room. 5 years earlier, Emma and Ethan lived in the same quiet neighborhood. They had been best friends since childhood. She dreamed of opening a small cafe. He dreamed of opening his own repair garage. Neither cared about expensive cars. Neither cared about money. They only cared about each other. Every Friday evening, they met at the old bridge overlooking the river. One sunset, Ethan smiled. When we finally save enough money, we'll leave this city. Emma laughed. And where will we go? Anywhere. As long as you're with me. She held out her little finger. Promise. He hooked his finger around hers. I promise. Neither of them knew that promise would soon be tested by blood. Only 2 weeks later, Ethan's older brother was murdered by a rival mafia family. The attack changed everything. To protect Emma, Ethan disappeared without saying goodbye. He allowed the world to believe he had died. Only a handful of trusted people knew the truth. Over the next 5 years, Ethan built the Romano family into the strongest criminal organization in the city. He gained power. Respect. Fear. But he lost something much more valuable. The peaceful life he once wanted with Emma. Meanwhile, Emma never stopped waiting. For months she visited the old bridge every Friday. Eventually, she accepted reality, or at least she tried to. Money became difficult after her father became ill. She gave up her dream of opening a cafe. Instead, she worked double shifts at Bellagio restaurant, one of the finest restaurants in Chicago. She smiled at customers every night, even when her own heart still hurt. Back in the present. Restaurant owner Mr. Bell rushed toward Ethan. Mr. Romano. It's an honor to welcome you. Ethan nodded politely. I'll take the private dining room, of course. As the staff hurried to prepare the room, Mr. Bell looked around. Emma. She froze. Yes. You'll be serving Mr. Romano tonight. Her heart almost stopped. Before she could finish. Mr. Bell had already walked away. Carrying the dinner tray felt impossible. Emma stood outside the private dining room for several seconds. Finally, she knocked softly. Come in. She entered. The room was quiet. Only Ethan sat at the large table. No bodyguards. No advisors. No weapons visible. He looked up as she placed the plates down. Still, he said nothing. Emma finally broke the silence. So, you really are alive? Ethan slowly nodded. Yes. You could have told me. I couldn't. I thought you were dead. I wanted you to. Emma stared at him. What? The less you knew, the safer you were. She looked away. I cried for you. His voice became quieter. I know. I came to the bridge. Every Friday. Emma's eyes widened. You saw me. Every week. You never came to me. If I had, you would have died. Silence filled the room. For the first time, Emma understood. He hadn't abandoned her. He had sacrificed everything to keep her alive. Before either of them could say another word, a loud crash echoed from outside the restaurant. Then another. Screams filled the hallway. One of Ethan's bodyguards burst into the room. "Boss, we've got company." The Volkov family surrounded the building. Ethan immediately stood. His calm expression disappeared. He looked at Emma. "Stay behind me." She frowned. "What's happening?" "They're here for me." Gunfire echoed from the front entrance. Customers screamed. Tables overturned. The restaurant instantly became a battlefield. Ethan pulled a small pistol from inside his jacket. He handed Emma a panic button. "If we get separated, press this." She looked frightened. "I'm not leaving you again." For the first time in 5 years, a small smile appeared on Ethan's face. Neither of them noticed a sniper watching through the restaurant window. His rifle wasn't aimed at Ethan. It was aimed directly at Emma. The red laser from the sniper's rifle slowly moved across Emma's shoulder. She never saw it, but Ethan did. His eyes widened. Without thinking, he lunged forward. "Emma." He wrapped his arms around her just as the rifle fired. Bang. The bullet shattered the wine cabinet behind them. Glass exploded across the room. Emma gasped. "What was that?" "A sniper." Before she could react, Ethan pulled her behind a thick marble pillar. Outside, more gunfire echoed through the restaurant. The Volkov family had surrounded the building. Customers hid beneath tables. Employees ran toward the kitchen. The elegant restaurant had become a battlefield in seconds. Marco, Ethan's most trusted bodyguard, rushed into the room. "Boss, the back exit is still open." Ethan shook his head. "We're not leaving." Marco frowned. "They're after you." Ethan looked toward Emma. "No, they're after anyone I care about." Emma finally understood. If the enemy believed she mattered to Ethan, she would never be safe. The shooting outside suddenly stopped. A deep voice echoed through the restaurant. "Ethan Romano." The voice belonged to Viktor Volkov, head of the rival Mafia family. "We know the waitress means something to you. Come outside, or she dies." Emma looked at Ethan. "Don't." He didn't answer. She grabbed his arm. "You spent 5 years protecting me. I'm not letting you throw your life away now." Ethan looked into her eyes. "You still don't understand." "What?" "I already lost you once. I'm not doing it again." Meanwhile, Marco quietly whispered into his radio. Within minutes, black SUVs surrounded the entire block. More than 50 Romano soldiers silently took positions on nearby rooftops. Victor believed he had trapped Ethan. In reality, he had walked into Ethan's trap. Ethan calmly stepped into the restaurant entrance. Victor smiled. "I knew you'd come." Ethan remained silent. Victor laughed. "So, the little waitress really is your weakness." Ethan slowly smiled. "No, she's my reason." Victor looked confused. Before he could speak again, bright lights suddenly illuminated the street. Romano soldiers appeared from every direction. Snipers covered every rooftop. Armored vehicles blocked every escape. Victor's smile disappeared. Marco calmly walked beside Ethan. "The area is secure, boss." Ethan nodded once. "Take them alive." The battle lasted less than 5 minutes. Outnumbered and surrounded, Victor's men surrendered. For the first time in years, the Volkov family lost completely. An hour later, police and emergency crews filled the street. The media gathered outside, but nobody knew the real story. Inside the restaurant, Emma quietly sat at an empty table. She looked at Ethan. "So, this is your life now." He nodded. "I never wanted it. Then why stay?" He looked toward the broken windows. "My brother died because nobody protected him. I stayed to make sure no family suffers the same way." Emma understood. The kind young mechanic she once loved had never disappeared. He had simply become stronger. The following weeks changed everything. Ethan secretly arranged extra security around Emma's apartment. He purchased the restaurant building to protect the employees, without telling anyone. He also paid every hospital bill for Emma's father. When she discovered the payments, she confronted him. "You can't keep solving my problems." Ethan smiled. "I know, but after 5 years, I'd like the chance to take care of you." She folded her arms. "I'm not helpless. I never said you were. I know you can stand on your own. That's one of the reasons I love you." Emma couldn't hide her smile. News of the restaurant attack spread across the city. Many newspapers called Emma the Mafia boss's secret love. Some people admired her, others criticized her. One reporter even asked, "Do you really belong beside a man like Ethan Romano?" Emma calmly answered, "I don't stand beside his power. I stand beside his heart." The interview quickly went viral. People finally saw the side of Ethan that few had ever witnessed. Not the feared Mafia boss, but the loyal man who never forgot his first love. Several months later, Emma finally achieved the dream she thought she had lost forever. She opened her own cafe. A small sign above the entrance read, Emma's Corner. Fresh flowers decorated every table. Books filled one wall. Soft music played every afternoon. The place felt warm, peaceful, exactly as she had imagined years ago. On opening day, the cafe became crowded. Neighbors came, old friends came, even strangers arrived after hearing her story. Late that afternoon, Ethan quietly entered, not wearing an expensive suit, not surrounded by bodyguards, just jeans, a simple white shirt, and the same gentle smile she remembered from years ago. He carried a small wooden box. Emma laughed. "What's this?" "Open it." Inside rested 2 old silver rings. She looked confused. "I found them." "Where?" "Under the old bridge." Her eyes filled with tears. "You kept looking, every year. I hoped one day we'd finish the promise we never got to keep." He gently took one ring. Years ago, they couldn't afford engagement rings. So they had bought 2 simple silver bands from a street market. After Ethan disappeared, Emma believed they had been lost forever. Apparently, they hadn't. That evening, as the cafe closed, Ethan locked the front door. Only the 2 of them remained inside. The warm smell of fresh coffee filled the room. Outside, rain gently touched the windows. Inside, everything felt peaceful. Ethan took Emma's hand. "When I left, I thought losing you would keep you safe. I was wrong. I didn't just lose 5 years. We both did." Emma gently squeezed his hand. "We can't change the past, no. But we can choose the future." He smiled. "So, Miss Emma Carter, I already promised once that we'd leave this city together." She laughed through happy tears. "You remember, I remember everything." He slowly slipped the silver ring onto her finger. "This time, I'm asking properly. Will you marry me?" Emma smiled, the same smile that had first stolen his heart years ago. "Only if you promise one thing, anything. No more disappearing." He laughed softly. "I promise." She nodded. "Then yes." Outside, the rain finally stopped. For years, they believed fate had stolen their chance at happiness. But sometimes, life asks people to wait. Not because love has ended, but because it is preparing them for the right moment. The waitress who believed her first love had died discovered that he had spent 5 years risking everything to keep her alive, and the Mafia boss who ruled an empire finally returned to the only place that had ever truly felt like home, because in the end, power built his empire, but love led him back to Emma.